Hello, my name is Ashley Campos and I am an occupational therapy student. I'm going to discuss a couple of topics that I have learned in this communication class and how I have previously used them and how I will apply them in the future as an occupational therapist. First, I am going to explain two communication concepts that I have found valuable. The first communication concept that is vital to me as a certified athletic trainer and future occupational therapist is call out. Call out is an important concept to communicate critical information, especially in an emergency situation. This communication concept allows the interdisciplinary team to anticipate the next steps by being delivered audibly. In my personal life, I used call out as a communication tool while playing softball. As an outfielder, I had to communicate with my other outfielders and my infielders during a pop fly. A rule of thumb in softball is that it's the outfielder's ball if the outfielder calls for it. If the outfielder doesn't say anything, the infielder continues to run for the pop fly. So, I would have to yell, "I got it," or "Mine, mine, mine," to indicate to the infielders and outfielders that it's my pop fly to catch and to move out of my way to prevent a collision. In my professional life, as a certified athletic trainer or an occupational therapist, I will use call out during the CPR process. If a patient heart stops or they stop breathing, the first steps of CPR is to call out to one person to activate EMS and another person to retrieve the AED. The second communication concept I found valuable is check back. Checkback reassures the sender who initiated the message that the receiver accepted the message and that it is completed. In my personal softball example, the check back would be the infielder saying, you, or scream, "Ashley, Ashley, Ashley," to inform me, the sender, the person who called out for the ball, that they received my initial call out and that they are out of my way. In my CPR example, the person activating EMS will inform me that EMS is called and on their way. The other person retrieving the AED will physically come back with an AED and say, "Here is the AED." Now, I am going to talk about evolving to a good leader. Two areas that I feel are important for me to develop is being out of the box more and increasing my emotional intelligence. I need to get out of the box by allowing others' opinions to be valid rather than sticking to what I prefer. In the past, I handled being out of the box by allowing my groupmates choose the portions that they would like to complete in an assignment, while I chose last. This is something I had to work on because I always wanted to pick first, and I was actually proud of myself for allowing others to pick what they preferred over my own preferences. This past semester, I would have liked to be more out of the box with some of my other group projects. Instead of listening to my group mates that we needed to edit the paper more, I said we were fine and that the paper was complete. When we received our final grade, we got the lowest score in the class, and all of our grades went from A's to B's. I regret not looking over the paper one last time to make final edits. I was just being stubborn because I wanted the paper to be turned in already, rather than having to work on it more or wait longer. Another area that I need to work on to become a better leader is my emotional intelligence. I am known for not being sensitive enough, which is something I need to work on. I need to recognize others' feelings and emotions in comparison to mine. In the past, I handled my emotional intelligence by recognizing that my friend was devastated with her mom being in the hospital, and I comforted her. I'm not very comforting, so this was a big step for me. I'm also not very comforting with people who I just met, and she was one of my classmates while this was our first semester still. So that was another big step, and it's actually good because with my patients, I'm not going to know them for very long, but I need to be emotionally intelligent to see what they are going through and comforting them in their most vulnerable time. This past semester, I wish I would have recognized that my best friend was depressed so that I could help her. I was so focused on myself and school that I didn't help her when she needed it most. Next semester, I will be more out of the box and increase my emotional intelligence by validating others' feelings. Next, I will be discussing ethics and professional boundaries. As healthcare professionals, we can be authentic and vulnerable without being professional. Healthcare professionals should show their patients vulnerability to help build an intimate relationship and a trusting rapport. As a future occupational therapist, I am going to be with patients at their most vulnerable time, and I need to make them feel that they can be vulnerable with me. However, I need to ensure that I am keeping my professionalism and not crossing the line. As a certified athletic trainer, I learned to acknowledge athletes when they are heartbroken by a career ending injury. I explain that I hear them and that their feelings are valid. I then tell them about my story of receiving a concussion which stopped me from playing soccer. I am vulnerable with my athletes, but I am not unprofessional. I do not give them the impression to constantly call or text me every day about how they are devastated about their injury. I also practice being vulnerable but professional with my professors. If I received a bad grade, I stay professional in my context, but I allow myself to be vulnerable by asking for help. I hope to continue to carry this over to my career as a future occupational therapist with my patients to give them the best care as possible. That is it. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for a wonderful semester.